Here's another reminder that the Democrat Party and woke corporations think black people and brown people are too stupid or too helpless to have a photo ID to vote. Hello once again, all my fellow patriots and you filthy leftist stalkers out there. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Angela Box. You're watching Angela's Soapbox, where I always say what you're thinking. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button, liking or rumbling this video, commenting on this video, and of course sharing this video, especially with your filthy leftist friends, because they really do hate my guts. And for me, that's a badge of honor. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about the Super Bowl. I touched on it yesterday. I'm not the only one to talk about it, obviously. I mean, it's all over the place. I'm not breaking any new ground here, but, you know, I feel like that Super Bowl halftime show, it really was a nadir of culture, of our culture, I think. And let's give the sea turtle killing plastic straw. I mean, obviously the music's not my cup of tea, but I'm going to talk about how I think the culture has been so degenerated that this is where we're at. So let's give it to Kendrick Lamar, because I don't know what the hell that was. Okay. Kendrick Lamar is a rapper. He's a pocket person, evidently. I was like, why are his pants so long and falling on the ground? It's like, and then I looked it up. It's like, oh, he's like 5'4". Bless. He's from Compton. Okay, so that's his hood. I'm not saying, like, let me just stipulate this, okay? You know, I like old school hip hop. I like old school rap. I don't like this auto-tuned weirdness that we have now. The same and this like weird, I don't even know how to describe it. Yeah, auto-tuned. And just very aggressive rap. And very vulgar and very just in your face. And lyrics you can't even understand. Like, did anybody understand what were these even songs that he was singing? Like, I've never heard of these songs. Now, again, I'm not the target audience, but we're talking about the Super Bowl here, okay? And a lot of people on X were like putting up old school flashbacks of Prince in 2007, for example. Or even Bruno Mars from a few years ago. Like, what was that? And then we come to find out that Jay-Z, of all people, that degenerate and that Diddy associate, who has been credibly accused of, let's say, having his way with an underage girl, has been in charge of determining who's going to be the Super Bowl acts for like years now, because he's black, and you know. Of course, like, why not? It's so dumb to me. Like, anyway, back to this Kendrick Lamar thing. It comes out, and it's like this super dystopian thing. I'm going to pause the video here, and before I set this up, I'm going to show you, like, the weirdest parts to me were, I mean, it was all very strange, but there were some that was just, like, really dystopian. Hang on.
Be humble. Sit down. Sit down. Be humble. Sit down. Be humble. Sit down. Hold on.
So they come out and they're all black dancers, and to their credit, great dancers. I think the choreography was actually pretty interesting. I didn't really, it's not that I didn't like the whole vibe of it, but I thought the dancing itself was very talented dancers. And of course, one of the dancers has to, get his 15 minutes, and he unfurls a Palestinian flag, and of course he's yanked off the stage, and they find out later, they're like, oh, it was one of the dancers. It's like, well, way to vet your people, but is anyone really surprised? No. Anyway, dancers were great, okay? The thing that I was like, this culture is in the toilet. To me, them running around like they were very, hooded and like hiding their faces, I was like, all these people look like they're about to loot a Louis Vuitton store. That's what that looked like to me. This like rush of people like looting a high-end store and running out. That's what it looked like to me. And before you scream racist, like, first of all, I don't care. Like, call me whatever you want. I've been called everything. The culture is so, I think, again, we're at a real low point in our culture. And I hope things are going to start to turn around. I think they will. But when you look at how the black community I think it's been a systematic destruction by the Democrat Party, and I've said this for a very long time. It all started during Lyndon B. Johnson's Great Society, when he famously said, when he basically created the welfare system that we have today, that went into black communities and said, you don't need a father in the home, and we're going to keep rewarding you for having babies out of wedlock, and you can keep having as many babies as you want, and you will get paid for them, and you will not have to worry about working and whatever. And the culture, the welfare culture that we now see in much of the black community was started in the 1960s. And also what was started in the 1960s was this idea that, like I said, having a father in the home, it's like, who cares about that? Like, why would you need a man? Like, let the men go out and impregnate as many women as they want. And the term baby mama, I mean, that just didn't come out overnight. So anyway, Lyndon B. Johnson famously said, after the Great Society was signed into law, the welfare system that we know today, I'm going to have these N-words voting Democrat for the next 200 years. And then it slowly began the disintegration of our culture. And again, the rap culture itself, I think, it's very cultural to the black community. I don't have a problem with that. I think that some rap is really interesting. I think these people are incredibly talented. But again, when we're talking about just mindless noise pollution, and then we've got dancers going, it's just to me, it's like you basically are co-signing every single stereotype that exists in the black community. And you say that white people are doing it. It's like, no, you're doing it. Like, look how you're portraying your dancers to look like they're looting a store, that with, again, hooded, masked, running around like scurrying like crazy, or this idea of people talking about, well, there's no diversity in your dancers. Like, imagine if it was just all white dancers. Like, there would have been a cacophony, okay? So, I personally don't care that it was all black dancers. Like, I get that he was, standing for his black community, and that's fine. And he's a leftist, and he's actually pretty Marxist, so I understand why he was doing that. But at the same time, it's like, if there was a white artist that just put white dancers in it, you would have never heard the end of it. But of course, Twitter, X is like, oh, the right is using DEI as a code word for black people. It's the new way to say bigot. It's like, no, we're just pointing out your absolute hypocrisy on everything. Because you're like, oh no, we need DEI. We need diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's like, okay, well then where's your diversity in your Super Bowl halftime show? You're telling me you didn't have any white dancers that were any good, or Asian, or Hispanic, or Indian, or whatever? Like, spare me. So we know what would have happened, obviously. And then, of course, we've got this side thing going on, which I had to go Google this Drake thing that he's got with Kendrick Lamar. And first of all, Drake, on a side note, Wheelchair Jimmy, as I call him, as he is affectionately known for all of us who used to watch Degrassi. I can't believe I watched Degrassi. When I was substitute teaching, I somehow got in a Degrassi rabbit hole. And I watched the whole time when Drake was on that show. And it's a Canadian, teen show. It's been on for, 8 million years. It's actually, it's pretty bad, but it was a guilty pleasure. But anyway, Drake was on this show, and his character was a football player that eventually got hurt, and he ended up in a wheelchair. So people just call him Wheelchair Jimmy, because his character's named Jimmy. But for the life of me, I'm like, why does anyone think Drake's music is any good? I call you on my cell phone. I hope you pick up on your cell phone. I'm like, what is this? Again, the dumbing down of our culture, the dumbing down of the black community has reached its bottom, I think. And what I really, really hope, and I mean this sincerely, and when I taught in the inner city, I meant this sincerely. I want the black community to wake up. I want the black community to wake up and understand what the Democrats have done to them and have done to their culture. They have purposefully destroyed it. And if we come to find out that Diddy was like a government plant, like Epstein absolutely was an intelligence plant, I think they're gonna have to start asking some questions, because he didn't just get to the point where he just got to have all these degenerate, awful, criminal parties and people looked the other way for decades. I have a feeling he was employed by our government, or he was employed by some intelligence agency in order to continue to degrade the black community. Because when you continue to degrade the black community, then they are under control, ladies and gentlemen. And that is what the Democrat Party has always been about when it comes to black people. They were the party of slavery. They were the party of the KKK. They were the party of segregation and Jim Crow. And then Lyndon B. Johnson is like, ooh, I'm going to get them all on welfare, and then they're going to vote for us forever. Let's switch it around. It's really sick and insidious. And Kendrick Lamar, shame on you for playing right into the stereotypes, because you literally co-signed every single stereotype that America thinks about rap culture, about black culture, whatever. So you have nobody else to blame but yourself. All right, that's where I'm going to leave this video. Let me know what you think down below, and I will see you in the next one. I will be done. Bye.